Great. All right. Well, welcome to the first of the Idaho STEM Ecosystem webinar series. I'm Erica Compton with the Idaho STEM Action Center Program Manager, and with me today is Caitlin McGuire, the Executive Director of the agency, and Teresa. I'm thinking we have a few of our staff here, so I'm not going to introduce everybody, but we are here and ready to go. The first of a series of webinars. Today, we were supposed to be in Southeast Idaho hosting an in-person convening, and given the status of COVID across the state, we've made a decision that we will go virtual. And but we really didn't want to leave a vacuum, and we had so many things we wanted to cover. So this really is the first of a series of meetings and webinars that we will be hosting mostly Fridays. The next one is actually scheduled for the 29th. And typically we're going to have them at at noon-ish Mountain Standard Time, but that may change as well. But we're excited to kick it off today with a very big welcome to 3 new STEM Action Center contractors, our hub coordinators. So it's that's going to be the first of the webinar series. We thought that was a great time to be able to do that. And now I am going to start a poll, and I'm launching that, and please tell me if you can see that. And if not, I'm going to reshare my screen so that you can. I knew this was going to happen. Okay, well, people were doing it right away. So this is just.
Well, Erica, we're seeing your presenter view.
Okay, well, let's just get the poll.
We can't see the poll.
Oh, well, people are frantically entering information.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
I'm not
then. Maybe
sure
it's
how
just
that's happening.
Okay.
Can anybody see the poll?
Oh, okay. Maybe because I'm a host. Sorry.
Okay. So this is just what region you represent, or are you a statewide representative today? We just thought it would be interesting to get a little information on kind of who is here. We have a lot of statewide representation, which is great. Love seeing that. And a good chunk of region 3, 2, yay, keep going. I will probably just leave that open. I think I can just leave it open, but I will certainly stop the share, reshare, so you guys can see the right screen this time. Be a little better. So if I'm not sure if you'll be able to continue to use that, but otherwise we have that data, and we'll just take a look at that. So today we want to do a quick overview of the Idaho ecosystem structure. We're going to introduce the hub coordinators with a little bit of Q&A, and we really want to engage you as well. So we please ask you to ask questions, raise your hand as we move forward. We want this to be informal, a get to know you kind of session. And so please don't hesitate to reach out one of those ways and let us know if you would like to ask a question or comment. And I'm going to turn it over to Caitlin to take it away and talk about the support team we have in place.
Great. And thanks, Erica, for setting us up, and welcome to everybody. Wonderful to see some friendly faces and some new ones for me. So within the STEM Action Center, we have our ecosystem support group listed up here. Myself, Erica, Crispin, who's in charge of our metrics and evaluation. I saw he popped on. Teresa helps us with a lot of the planning and logistics. And then John is our partnerships and community outreach coordinator. So I know many of you have met us, but if there's ever a reason or question that you have for the ecosystem, feel free to reach out to any one of us at any point. Next slide, Erica. So together, the ecosystem is a group of STEM education and workforce development stakeholders, and we work in a collective impact model. And we created this guiding aspirational statement over the last couple years. So as a group, our ecosystem fosters the integration of STEM experiences for Idahoans, creating problem solvers and critical thinkers who will sustain and lead our economy. So this is our guiding work that we're all coming together to do. And as we do this work, the STEM Action Center, serving as a backbone agency for the network, has developed a structure for our ecosystem, which I'll just go over briefly here before introducing our hub coordinators, because it's important to understand our structure and why we have hub coordinators. So our ecosystem is comprised of a statewide backbone, which is in the blue in the center, and 3 hubs to date. We hope to eventually roll out more hubs, but we're starting with 3 hubs. And each of our hub coordinators is leading those hubs and the development of those hubs. Hub to hub relationship is really focusing on programs and partnerships and leveraging each other's resources. And then the state to hub relationship is focused on strategy, bringing in funding to support the work we're doing, focusing on the collection of data amongst all of our organizations, so we know that we're meeting our goal and moving towards our aspirational statement, and really focusing on the infrastructure of the ecosystem. So I'll just dive into the statewide versus hub structure of our ecosystem. And as I'm talking, feel free to pop questions into the chat that I can address as we go. So at the statewide level, we base this off of a nonprofit model where we have sort of a backbone organization, which is a STEM Action Center, which in a nonprofit world would effectively be like an executive director role. And then we work closely with a statewide governing board. And we meet with that group on a monthly basis. I see several of the members on this call that guide the work that we do. But really the day-to-day function is with the STEM Action Center staff that I showed a few slides ago. The teeth on this are the activities that support the building of the ecosystem. So we have various working groups, which I'll go over in a moment, as well as sort of a funding group, a data group, or basically working groups that are supporting the development and the functioning of the ecosystem at the statewide level. Next slide, please. So here is 1/2 of our ecosystem governance board. There are 10 members, so here are 5 of them. Our governance board represents the people from the K-12 space, higher education, industry, out of school space, as well as individuals from all of our regions in Idaho. And when I speak about regions, I'm talking about the 6 educational regions in Idaho. So here are 5 of our representatives. And then if you go to the next slide, we have the next 5 individuals, making sure that we have representation from across the state, from organizations and all populations in the state. Next slide. And then also at that statewide level, we have the strategic priority working groups that I mentioned. There are 4 outlined. Many of you participate these on a regular basis. They meet monthly as well, have developed their own goals and action items and are working on those collectively. So these 4 working groups are educator preparation, training and support, career pathways and exposure, outreach and communications, and then access and equity. If you don't belong to one of these working groups and would like to, please reach out to us. We will get you on a working group. Next slide. So then moving on to the hub level, this is more at the regional level, local level, again, built off of that nonprofit, where we have a hub coordinator, which in the nonprofit realm would be a director, working with a governing board or a board of directors. So each hub will have or does have a regional governing board for their particular hub. The hub coordinator is a full-time paid position right now supported through the STEM Action Center. And then the teeth on this diagram are, again, those activities or efforts related to building that hub. So working groups, to move the work forward. And then the small groups are really where the individual or organizational membership is, and that's all of you on this call. So whether you represent K through 12 or industry or out of school time, that's where you fit into this model, supporting the work at the regional or hub level. Next slide. So our hubs are organized by educational regions. These are the 6 educational regions in Idaho. They're a little bit different than the Department of Health and Welfare's regions, but this is what we chose to go since our focus is on education. So our first hub, Idaho North Central, is regions 1 and 2. Region 3 is our SWISH, so Southwest Idaho STEM hub, and then regions 4, 5, and 6 have come together for our Idaho Southeast hub. And so we'll get into those and introduce our hub coordinators. Next slide. So first up, and bear with me while I spotlight the wonderful Ashley. Well, I'm trying to multitask too much here. Okay, so I just want to introduce Ashley. She was born and raised in Pocatello and has been an educator in Southeast Idaho for the last 10 years. She has taught mostly elementary school. However, she has had the pleasure of working with students of all ages. And during her time as an educator, she has enjoyed bringing STEM education and STEM professionals into her classroom. She's also worked with us, which has been great for many years, first as a participant in iSTEM, which is our professional development opportunity. And then she went on to actually teach at iSTEM and has been a consistent instructor, teaching her fellow educators through the years. She is really excited now to work with the STEM Action Center and her hub, and we are just really excited to have her to be part of this group. So welcome, Ashley, and in a moment we will hear more from her. I'll go on to Dan. Let me spotlight you, Dan. Where are you? There you are. Okay. There's Dan. So Dan is originally from Central New York and has found himself roaming the West Coast and Mountain West ever since studying environmental science at Humboldt State in Northern California. He comes to us with a strong background in experiential education, first with the Sierra Nevada Journeys outside of Reno, with an emphasis on delivering innovative outdoor education and STEM-based education. And then he's worked on developing critical thinking skills with students to inspire them and teachers to bring STEM engagement back into the classroom. Most recently, Dan has served as a program coordinator for the Idaho Conservation Corps, helping to build a STEM-based curriculum and workforce development program for youth and young adults with a focus on natural resource conservation. And Dan enjoys hiking in the foothills in his free time and getting out camping as much as possible. So welcome, Dan. We are excited to have you to be part of the team. And then last but certainly not least is Susan. Susan is thrilled to be part of this enthusiastic experience with the STEM Idaho North Central group. She is dedicated to establishing a robust connections for STEM education and pathways in her region. She has an extensive background in STEM education that spans across Idaho. After graduating from Bonneville High School in Idaho Falls, she earned her bachelor's degree in chemistry and secondary education, as well as a master's degree in adult education from the University of Idaho. She is a former math and statistics teacher, department chair at Boise High, and was a statistics instructor at the University of Idaho. As a University of Idaho Micron STEM Education Research Initiative Research Associate, well, that's a mouthful, Susan was involved with all aspects of survey administration and data analysis with Idaho students, parents, and teachers. And she's co-authored many reports, and we are just really thrilled to have her be part of the STEM Action Center team, as well as part of the ecosystem. So thank you, Susan, for being here with us. So let's talk. I have a series of questions for our hub coordinators, and we'll just go around and have a conversation. If you have questions you'd like to hear from them, please pop them in the chat, and Erica will let me know that we have incoming questions. So Susan, Ashley, and Dan, unmute yourself as we talk. And I would just like to hear from each of you to tell us a little bit about your interest in STEM education or workforce development and how that led you to joining the ecosystem and this work. So we'll start with Susan. Well, it looks like Susan just froze on us. Perfect timing. I'll move it over to Ashley then.
All right, so I got interested in STEM education because I was thrown into it, kind of. The school I was teaching at the time, we were separating out some of what we considered our specials, and I am not a good musician and I am not a good artist. So I was in charge of the computer lab, and I didn't want it to just be, oh, we come to computer lab and we chill. So I looked, and there were all sorts of standards for computer science. And so I built a curriculum for my first graders based around the computer science standards that I could find. And that just snowballed into more STEM education and engineering and getting them really excited about math and getting them really into science. And from there, I started going to iSTEM, like my bio said, like Caitlin read, and just continued to develop. And the more I got into it, the more excited I got, and the more I just found this passion for STEM.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ashley. Dan, do you want to follow up with that? And we'll get Susan back on board here.
Yeah, so my interest in STEM really took off as an educator at a outdoor education facility, and we would have school groups from rural California towns as well as Reno and Sacramento inner cities come, and we would host them for a week of residential outdoor science-based learning. And it was just really incredible working with these students and really seeing their eyes light up working through the engineered design process. You know, we'd start with toothpicks and gumdrops and then work up to building life-size geodomes out of PFC piping, or the way they were able to process kinetic and potential energy through the action of slingshots, you know. And so really seeing them come to life and engage in this material and be hungry for it, really asking those important critical thinking questions really motivated me. And then as emphasis on that, a lot of the interaction with the teachers, they were just really hungry for this curriculum, and they were hungry to bring the type of engagement and the lessons they were seeing in our like fun outdoor classrooms back inside their classrooms. And so that really opened me up to the world of STEM and just how wide and broad it is and how far reaching it can be. And then with my workforce development here in Idaho is, sorry about that. It was really interesting. I got to work with a variety of youth and young adults, and I would connect them to industry professionals. And it was really awesome to see the youth and young adults really dig into this work and really be hungry to learn more and more. And it was awesome to see these agency professionals be blown away by the amount of energy there was in our youth today to really be involved in meaningful work. And so all of that combined led me to the ecosystem, which I believe is just a perfect combination of all these passions and a really great conduit for bringing them all together and serving our communities.
Thanks, Dan. And you bring up so many good points. You know, a lot of the work we do is connecting industry with education, and the connections that happen are really inspiring. And I think that's a role that the ecosystem will play more and more as we move forward, is making those connections and getting everyone speaking the same language and being passionate about STEM. Susan, sorry we lost you for a moment, but we're just talking a little, if you could talk a little bit about your interest in STEM or workforce development and how that led you to joining this team and this work.
Sure. Yeah, that was incredible timing, huh? For the internet to go out on me. I've always had a very deep interest in education and STEM education in particular. I taught math and statistics at Boise High and really enjoyed my students and my colleagues, and just saw a lot of interesting programs that we had. And then also as a research associate, when I worked on the Micron STEM Education Research Initiative, just was interested in all of the findings and how we need to just increase our participation in a lot of the STEM fields, and how can we make it more exciting. And currently, I've been associate director for STEM Access in a TRIO program. So that's Upward Bound Math Science. We mentor high school students, just trying to make sure that if they want to go to college, that they're doing the things they need to do. And we do that up in Lewiston, Clarkston, and Asotin. And then we also have a NASA program where we take outreach to the schools and have annual challenges. That last year we had Roads on Mars, which of course went virtual because of COVID, but I've enjoyed those programs. And I also have 3 sons that are in STEM fields. So I've just, it just seemed like a great fit, and I'm excited to get this program to the next level.
Awesome. Thanks, Susan. So all of us are working to, get students into STEM and develop our workforce. Was there a moment in your educational trajectory or career where you sort of got latched onto STEM or helped you decide the path that you would take as an adult? I know for me, there was maybe several moments, but my earliest moment for me was picking forams out of a petri dish, and I just loved it and was hooked on science since then. But anyways, this is not about me. This is about you guys. So Dan, do you have a moment in your educational trajectory that sort of guided where you went as an adult?
Yeah, I had the fortunate opportunity when I was a senior in high school. I elected to do this program where I served my classes outdoors at a nature center, and it was like a nature center and fisheries combined. And it was an innovative type of curriculum where we studied our traditional senior year curriculum with a natural science STEM-based emphasis. And it really just ignited this passion and curiosity I had for science and for the natural world and for seeing the connections between them. And it was really neat because it would also serve to connect us with different industries and let us see directly how the latest innovative science technologies were being used in like the wastewater treatment facilities or in our forestry products. And so it really brought to life this curiosity and intrigue that I've found myself pursuing ever since.
Love that. Thanks for sharing. Susan, do you have a moment?
Yeah, I actually had thought about this because I had seen this question before, and I was thinking more of my early experiences as a teacher and then where it's kind of led me to now. So there was a time when I was teaching at Boise High where I realized that none of us math teachers had enough time to help students as much as they wanted help. We tried, but there just weren't enough hours in the day, and tutoring was very expensive. And so I ended up collaborating with some other teachers, and I wrote a grant, and we started what's called the Math Assistant Center, or the MAC, at Boise High. And I loved it. I just really enjoyed administering that. I did it myself as a volunteer, but we always had a math or a science teacher in, and we made it a very positive experience where students would drop in and we would give prizes randomly, and they were invited just to come in and work on their homework. They didn't have to need tutoring, but we had also students in a competitive tutoring program, so they applied to be tutors, and then we had a big training, and just seeing everything come together, and it inspired me to stay in and do more program building, and I'm looking forward to it.
That's great. I think, yeah, and we all have moments in our careers, even after formal education, that are really important and change the trajectory and the passion of our work. So appreciate you sharing that. Ashley, do you have a moment that you'd like to share?
So like Susan, my big moments came once I was actually teaching, although I think I was destined to make it here into this STEM field and this passion, because I went to a school that does a lot of outdoor education and a lot of hands-on and a lot of STEM-based things. And I went from there, and when I went into college, I had a math professor that was just like, you're going to go into math, right? I'm like, nope, I am not. I'm not doing that. So I think other people saw it in me long before I realized that I really enjoyed it. And I believe anyway that I'm really great at sharing that information. But yeah, as I was teaching and I got more and more into building this computer science program, and then developing these outdoor and biology based lessons for my first graders, and then going to iSTEM and teaching at iSTEM, that's where the real snowball effect started to happen for me of, hey, I really like this, and I would really like to ignite other educators' passions in STEM.
I love that. Thanks for sharing. And I'll just remind everyone on the call, if you have questions you'd like to ask, please pop them in the chat and we'll get them asked. This next question is a bit of a two-part question. I know you're all kind of still learning about your region. Some of you have worked in your region for years, some are new. This question is, what needs do you see in your region for the ecosystem? And then how can the ecosystem maybe help the work in your specific region or hub area moving forward? And so Susan, we'll start with you on this one.
Okay, great. Well, our communities, like the other regions too, vary so much, from small rural towns to much more populated Coeur d'Alene and Lewiston. Even those with the bigger populations, they're very different. So very different needs. But one very common thread that we found when we did our focus groups was that everybody wanted to be connected more. So they needed a little more information about what's out there. And we know that we needed to identify what is out there so that we can fill in those gaps. And so just the being able to have that backbone for communication through the STEM Action Center will be great. We also, let's see, the other thing that we know we want to do is we've got that website that started, and that is kind of part of we're connecting the STEM Action Center with that. Asana has been great. And so we're excited to be able to put all that together.
Awesome. Thanks, Susan. Yeah, we look forward. All the different hubs will have a place on the STEM Action Center website for their own web page. You can go there right now and see the IC, Idaho Southeast East hubs website. And so the other two will get on there as soon as possible, as well as all the other infrastructural components that come with that, like a logo and ways to communicate. So we're looking forward to that. Dan, do you want to share a little bit about what you have seen so far about the needs in your area and ways in which the ecosystem can help?
Yeah, absolutely. Much along the same lines, I think there's a realization that there are a lot of amazing STEM resources out there, in that this is a passion that a lot of people have, and that a lot of people are looking to grow. The challenge that we're looking forward to is the way to connect all those resources, connect all those people, and really let that information and inspiration flow between those resources. So that's really where I see the role of the ecosystem, is really creating those connections for that collaboration to take place, for those shared ideas and inspirations, and really just being a conduit to help the passions, help the ideas, help the programs that are already happening out there, whether it be in the individual schools, whether it be in ways that industry is looking to support us, or whether it be ideas in people's heads. We're really looking forward to providing a way for all those resources to come together and let that collaboration happen more seamlessly, and really have the effect echo out through all of our regions, rural, urban, and really be able to all benefit from the STEM expertise and passion that we all bring.
I love that. Thanks, Dan. And just as a side note, the STEM Action Center is really focused on raising awareness for STEM education this year. And so I think amplifying each other's voices is a huge component of that. So looking forward to that more. Ashley, do you have anything to add from your hub and regions?
I feel a little bit like a broken record, because just like Susan and Dan said, my group, the IC STEM group, they are amazing and have fabulous things going on. But a lot of times, even within our own group, we're not sure what resources everybody has, and just trying to build those connections and make everybody aware of what's available and what the STEM Action Center has available to us, because sometimes it feels so far away. And the people that know, right? But the ones that don't, we want to try and reach out and get that information to the industry leaders in our area, and the educators in our area, and the parents in our area. So that's our big push coming up, is to get a nice combined list of all of our resources, of ways to highlight those resources, and then also how to get those resources into the hands of people who are looking for them and asking for them, but don't know where to go.
I love that. I think these hubs will serve as sort of a center of expertise for STEM education, where those interested in this field can come to you guys and to your hubs and really learn about the available resources and make those connections, so that we don't have a 3D printer sitting on a shelf somewhere when an educator down the street can utilize that 3D printer in their own classroom. So awesome. So just to continue on, I mean, what about this position are you most excited about? I know you guys are talking about more specific for the work. So just a little bit more insight into what excites you about the work coming down the pipeline in this particular position. And I'll start with you, Dan, this time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about community in general, and the role that this position will have in being able to go out and connect with different voices in the community. That's really a strong passion that I have, is being able to see what's out there and being able to help connect that. And I'm just really excited to get out there and connect with educators, parents, industry, and really these just innovators of these ideas, and really connect as a region. Yeah, and so I would just say the community, the person-to-person aspect is something that always drives me forward. I think STEM, of course, is an exciting component. It's very innovative, but it only happens because of the passion that people in the community bring towards it. And so that's what really excites me about position is being able to connect to that passion, connect to those people that make this mission possible.
I love that. Building community is never a bad thing. So glad to hear that you're excited about that. Ashley, would you like to add or have something to say?
So I'm excited about building the community as well, about working with, like I said, I don't think I can praise my hub enough. Everybody that I've met that's part of my hub is fantastic, have great ideas, are very passionate people. But I'm also really excited to be able to help reach some of these communities that I see aren't getting help with STEM education, or they are desiring more help and they just don't. Like, Boise is really far away and the STEM Action Center is fantastic, but sometimes reaching little Malad way over here is difficult. And so being able to be that go-between and reach some of these communities where, as an educator, I couldn't do that. I didn't have the resources, I didn't have the connections or the networking to be able to do that. And now I get a lot more of those communities, and really get STEM education into those classrooms and to those kids.
You couldn't have put it better. This is why we're building out the ecosystem. We realize we can't be everywhere all the time. And so it's wonderful to have you three on board and to be building out this network in a formal way. Susan.
I'm really just going to echo what they're saying too, because it's the building the community and the connections that's so exciting. And we have just a fabulous group. We actually started building this a year ago. And so I've gotten to know several of them, and we have very diverse representation too. We've got industry, we've got nonprofits, we have both the Nez Perce and Coeur d'Alene tribes, higher ed, government, and we have to work a little more to get a little more representation from secondary ed. We have some, but we also recognize they're very busy, and they're a lot of times that's who these programs will connect to. So once we have more programs in place, we might pull them more in that way, but just great group of people. And that would be my number one thing. I'm very grateful. And the collaboration that the STEM Action Center has shown. Every time I call or just need something, people are so kind and helpful, and that's just really appreciated.
Yeah. Thanks. And you really highlight the importance of bringing together all the stakeholders that serve a student throughout their day or throughout their educational pathway. And that's really the ultimate goal of the ecosystem, is to bring together all those players so we're all swimming in the same direction and reaching our goals in a more efficient way. So glad to hear you're excited about all that collaboration. Michelle Youngquist with Project Learning Tree had put a question in the chat, an age-old question. We want to reach educators, but it's challenging to schedule things at times when they can participate, like now. Very good point, Michelle. How do our hub coordinators envision engaging these audiences, these key audiences, and making sure those on the provider end are providing what's truly needed and wanted? So I won't call on anybody. Does anyone just want to unmute and share their thoughts on that?
Sure, I can. We actually have our meetings later. They're either at 4:30 or at 5:30, and that was at the request of educators and us trying to accommodate that. It's not a perfect time to meet for anybody, but we kind of move it around a little bit. But that's one of the ways that we are trying to reach out to them and make sure that they can participate.
And just to piggyback on what Susan was saying, is the fact that we've been educators, I think, helps us realize that too, because I've been in the same position where we'll discuss things and I'm like, oh, you can't do it right then. You're not going to get any teachers there. It's not going to work. And so having that experience does give us that insight to make some of those adjustments. And I'm not saying we have all the answers, and I'm sure we'll have times where we'll butt up against that again, but being able to recognize the difficulty that it is for a teacher to try to make something at 12 o'clock on a Friday or at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday will really help us put things in perspective as we plan them and get them together.
Yeah, and something else that we have at our benefit too is that there's a multitude of platforms that we can use to share ideas and cultivate ideas going forward. I think oftentimes we're locked into this conventional idea that we all have to meet at a certain time and share voices, but luckily we live in a day and age where we can where ideas can be shared seamlessly and where people can contribute on their own time. So I think offering people a variety of different ways to contribute their ideas will really be key. Obviously, I think a lot of inspiration comes from meeting together and hearing each other's voices, but the ideas don't stop then. And so providing ways to share in those ideas and then for people to see those and build off those will be really, really important. And I think that provides that foundation and framework to really see what's truly needed and what's really wanted. And then that's what I'm excited about as a hub coordinator, is to build off that foundation of those ideas shared and reach out to providers and really pursue those channels that have already been identified as needs and wants, and do that out on my time, make that happen, like devote my time to making that happen and bringing those resources back to educators to take advantage of. And so that's what I'm really excited about and see as ways for us in this role to address that challenge that will consistently be with us.
Wonderful ideas, and it sounds like you all have already thought through this quite a bit already, which is great to hear. And we have a few more questions. Oh,
sorry, I just noticed Stephanie Bailey White, our state librarian at the Idaho Commission for Libraries. Shout out to her. Hello. She loves the idea of the MAC, Math Assistance Center, that is at Boise High School, that I cannot convince my daughter to take advantage of. So how do we perhaps, do we have ideas for replicating some of these great ideas so that people aren't reinventing the wheel? So again, for me, this is my passion about this ecosystem, is breaking down those silos, leveraging. So I'll throw that out there, but what are some thoughts about how do we really make sure these different tools that are created are shared as broadly and made available to people?
I know
I just shut it down with that, didn't
I? I know one of our goals as the hub coordinators is to be able to be in contact with each other as well. And so if we come up with these great ideas, or we have these great programs going on in our regions, that information's getting out, because even I didn't know about the MAC over at Boise High until Susan said, I'm like, I love that idea. That's fantastic. I wonder if I could get some teachers on board here in Southeast and Eastern Idaho. But it's all about our communication with each other. And I know that's something that we're trying to make a very concerted effort to do, and be in communication between Susan and Dana and I about what we have going on, and with Caitlin and the STEM Action Center, so that if they hear about something amazing and we somehow missed each other, that it's making it to everybody as well.
Caitlin, I'm not sure if you're looking at the chat, but Lisa has asked whether, sorry, it just scrolled by. Do we utilize any particular website for STEM career pathway information other than OneNet? 1T, ONET? I don't know ONET, honestly. So I'm going to ask that and let you go.
sure, and it's so great to see another state STEM hub on the call. So Lisa would love to maybe reach out and talk to you more. We are always wanting to learn from other STEM hubs and ecosystems from across the nation. The STEM Action Center, in partnership with our governor's office, is now offering a 3-year license for the program called Learning Blade. And Erica, if you can just pop that into the chat, that's a great career awareness platform. And then our state is also looking into collaborating with the platform called NEPRIS, which connects professionals with classrooms, and also has basically a library of available careers, not just focused on STEM, but STEM is a huge component of that. So those are two that I'm aware of. And then I just open it up to our hub coordinators if there's anything else to add. And I will get Susan back up. Looks like she lost her internet again.
And I will just point out that in the, I put in next steps as well, which is a little bit different, but the Learning Blade is there, free site license for 3 years for any school in Idaho, public funded. And then next steps.
Dan
Sorry,
or Ashley, do you have
navigating the
anything to
waiting
add?
room. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not aware of a specific website, but I think that's what this offers is a great idea sharing and great looking at what's out there and using that as a source of connection. And I kind of want to, I'll just circle back and echo how Ashley was addressing the last question too, is I think there's a lot of potential within our region to connect and share resources with each other. And that's a thing that really drives me forward is I see there's so many resources within the individual regions that it may just take a little bit of a different way of thinking to connect and make those widely available so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We just have to distribute the wheel to everybody. We just have to put the gears in place for people to build their own wheel and get it spinning. And I think there's a lot of drive and there's a lot of passion to make that happen. And luckily now we're in this position to help give that out and help be the distribution force for that. And so I really look forward to the cascade of ideas that will come from this and the toolkits that we're going to be able to share out, not only in our regions, but across all of Idaho and communities.
Absolutely. And Amy put a great comment in the chat if you all are following that about the value of relationships. Amy, I don't know if you want to add anything to that, but excellent point with relationships.
I'm not from Idaho, but I've been here 25 years. And as we have developed programs and planning and groups and initiatives and government little, name it, many of us have had these conversations for years together. And so it's really great to add new people to the scope of our conversations. But Idaho we're tall, right? We are tall and wide, but it's still a group of people that we can call with one phone call. We're amazingly connected. And if you're coming from a larger state or a more populous state, it might be a little bit weird, but we can call someone that makes real decisions in real times and or get our questions answered pretty quickly. And I love that about our state. So I think our STEM efforts are strengthened when we just collaborate and just keep these conversations going. So I'm just here on the fringe going, yep, go team. I know all of you.
Great. Yeah, excellent points. And glad you're here to share that insight with us. Thank you so much. There's some wonderful resources going into the chat, so please check those out. And Mike Ron, thanks for being here and supporting the MAC program. I'll just pause for a moment and see if there's any additional questions. I have one more fun question for our hub coordinators, but does anyone have anything else they'd like to share or a question they'd like to ask? Please unmute yourself.
I would like to just say, sorry, I don't know why it kept kicking me out and I kept trying to get in. And so finally I switched and did the other option of Zoom. And now I'm just not going to touch anything, but it just did not like me. So I heard they were just saying something about the MAC as it cut me out. So thanks. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to address them whenever. But yeah,
Well, I think you're on the hook to create a great toolkit that can be shared out statewide. Otherwise, it's all good.
all right, no problem. I still have I kept everything.
Well, that's the wonderful thing. We can be that kind of resource to help you share that out more broadly so people can perhaps adapt or replicate.
Yeah.
Sure. Thanks.
Okay, I'm not seeing anyone unmuting themselves. So just as a non-work question, what do you guys like to do in your free time? What are your passions? Just so we get to know you a little bit more. We'll start with you, Ashley.
So one of my biggest outside of work time things is I have a 4-year-old who is my world right now. And so we love going on adventures. We go camping and hiking and snowshoeing and all sorts of outdoor fun stuff, which is just so exciting to see him and do with him, because he is all questions all the time. And it's just fun to watch his little brain grow. And I also am a big crafter and a big reader. So you can catch me doing one of those 3 things: hanging out with my little one, making crafts, or reading.
I love it. And all your free time, right? That's wonderful to hear about. All right, Dan, what do you like to do?
Oh yeah, well, I love getting outside as much as possible, and yeah, my 2 fur babies made themselves known earlier in the meeting, but yeah, they usually come with me. My 2 dogs come out, and I love hiking and backpacking and getting into the backcountry as often as I can, and then counter to that, I also love settling down with a good book, good cup of coffee, so kind of the counterbalance there. Both sides really appeal to me.
Awesome, thanks. And what a great place to live based on those interests you have. Susan.
Yeah, I think I'm similar with the others in that my family was big for me. My sons are grown though, so it'll be fun to hear about yours, Ashley. And then I love going to art shows when I can. It's just local arts and crafts. I dabble here and there, but I wasn't blessed with that talent, so I just have to go look and enjoy. And then I am also very outdoorsy, so maybe the 3 of us should go on a retreat or something somewhere. I'm a big whitewater rafter. I enjoy bicycling, backpacking, skiing, whatever outdoor pursuit I can do. I worked at the outdoor program and whitewater guided, and just really enjoy getting out.
Awesome. Maybe we do some sort of retreat somewhere with all of us. That would be lovely.
Well, at her house in McCall, apparently.
Right. Yeah. That would be nice. Well, thank you, all 3 of you, for being here and sharing about yourselves. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in to meet our new hub coordinators. We just have a few minutes left, and so we thought we'd spend this time to give you a tour of our website so you can see some of the resources available and where the information about the ecosystem is. So I'm going to turn it over to Erica, but I really just want to express how excited we are to have you 3 on board and the work that you'll do. And for the larger community on this call, thank you for your passion in STEM education and workforce development. We look forward to continuing the work with you. So take it away, Erica.
Thank you. All right, and can you see my screen? With multiple screens, I want to make sure you can see the website. Excellent. So stem.idaho.gov, everybody kind of knows, hopefully, where you can find us. But I did want to just point out under the Our Opportunities is the location for the STEM ecosystem. And so if you click that, then you have access to information on the ecosystem. This on the far right mentioned the first STEM, the ecosystem webinar, and that's where we will go ahead and put up the recording and the PowerPoint to that. So if you know folks who missed it or you want to look back at anything, it will be housed here. Upcoming webinars. We have an exciting webinar actually coming up. I think it's going to be interesting, October 29th. We have created a State of STEM in Idaho report with a national group that oversees the STEM learning ecosystem community of practice. And so that will be the focus, the State of STEM in Idaho. And then IC STEM, our Southeast group, is going to do a business panel, which is going to be wonderful. And then we'll be talking about reaching underserved populations. So I just want to make note that those webinars are here, and you'll, in the ecosystem newsletter, we will send out the links to register for those. And then again, quickly, you can reach the Idaho South and East ecosystem, South and East here, and find out how to join us, look at leadership, everything here. And that will be kind of the format for all three hubs once we get them up and running. So I know Idaho North Central is just on the verge of launching theirs, and Swish is following closely behind. So just keep up there. And you can also register for or submit information for the newsletter here, and or even subscribe to the newsletter if for some reason you aren't already subscribed. So lots of information here. And is there anything else specifically, Caitlin? You can click on our opportunities, which just is kind of a yearly overview of all of the different opportunities and professional development grants and sponsorships that we provide over the year is laid out so that you can do year-long planning here. And I just remembered one thing I can also say is that we have completely redone the resource panel or the resource portal for the STEM Action Center. And this may answer a couple questions that were out there, but this is a portal that is available for anyone to use. It has everything from lesson plans and toolkits to information on mentoring resources. The STEM at Home, which is a pretty comprehensive list of information, has been curated after more than a year of doing STEM at Home with our CBS2 partners. So fun activities, just a lot of different information that is accessible here and much more easily accessible, I should say, and searchable. Anything else, Caitlin, that I should shout out?
I just quickly, we also have our iSTEM. Yep. Wow. We are thinking alike. Our iSTEM libraries are a resource of physical material that you can check out to use in your instruction. And so we just revamped all that, new materials into the iSTEM libraries, as well as an online catalog where you can browse by location. They're at 6 locations across the state: Coeur d'Alene, Lewiston, Idaho Falls, Pocatello, Twin Falls, and Nampa. So please use those. And the contact information and checking items out is all on that website. That was the last thing I was going to say, Erica.
Excellent. Yeah, totally redone. There's a nice video up here that you can click and learn a little bit more about it. Just a phenomenal resource. So please be aware of that and share that widely with educators, formal and informal. You know, you need a set of robots, you only have 2 and you need 10. It might be that they're sitting there waiting for you to use them. So,
and just,
yeah.
I'm never done talking. I do want to say Micron is donating a bunch of materials to our iSTEM libraries. So shout out to Micron on the call. Thanks, Lori, for reminding me. And then Erica, if you could share the last slide of our presentation, that has the contact information for our 3 hub coordinators, so you all can be in touch with them moving forward. And thank you all for joining our first ecosystem webinar series. It's wonderful to see you all. Please reach out if you have any questions or comments. And again, welcome on board, Dan and Ashley and Susan.
I'll hang here for a little bit in case anybody ends up with any last minute questions. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and wrap up the recording, and then we will, again, make sure this is all posted to the website shortly. Good to see so many familiar faces.